homeless, visiting the sick and those in hospital, burying the dead. As an expert in humanity, to quote Paul VI or John Paul II, should the church do more to assuage the suffering of the people? Can the churches do more without deviating from the explicitly religious mission? To conclude these comments and observations on religion and politics in Africa, I believe that both religion and politics have a shared destiny of close relationship. On a continent that represents an enormous spiritual lung for humanity that appears to be in a crisis of faith and hope, to quote Benedict XVI, the political principle of a wall of separation between church and state, that is the linchpin of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, easily evaporates in the intense heat of intertwining purposes, motives, and agendas between a continent described as incurably religious and its array of political systems, institutions, and personalities. None of Africa's three dominant religious heritages considers religion as a purely private and personal matter. In many instances, the positive engagement of religion and politics has proved to be a catalyst for integral human development. Now, strengthening this engagement and enhancing its effectiveness represents an ongoing challenge for the church in Africa. It is a strong element, but I would say at the level of national politics, religion galvanizes more support than the ethnic tribal affiliations. Because at the level of politics, the divide is basically between the North and the South. It's a simple divide, but a very, very combustible one, because the North is predominantly Muslim, and the South is predominantly Christian. And that is a much more potent element when it comes to the allegiances and affiliations here. In the particular situation of Nigeria. Yeah. Yes.
Do some people practice two religions, the indigenous religion plus Christianity? Or are they one?
I laugh because I feel personally implicated in that question. It's part of my religious history. It's very deeply rooted in indigenous African religion. That's where I grew up. That's where I received my formative years of were really in the context of African indigenous religion. As Julia said, it was not until I was 16 that I became Catholic. But that is something that is deeply ingrained to such an extent that I feel very much a product of two traditions. there's a sense in which I feel, well, personally, if I speak for myself, that I have successfully at least integrated both in my own. But on the continent, there is this phenomenon that theologians have very unfortunately branded as religious schizophrenia, or what some would call religious double-mindedness, which is basically about the situation where many, I would say many Christians will still be very, very much attracted to the practices within indigenous African religions. Where in situations where, you see, in indigenous religion, there is a certain openness to different approaches or expressions of religious faith and belief, such that it's able to accommodate other approaches. And for many people, this means that it's perfectly okay to be a professed Christian and also be actually actively engaged in indigenous religion. The argument would be that, at least in the situation that I'm familiar with, there isn't that, theologically speaking, the central personality of Christianity is a foreign element in the context of African indigenous religion. Jesus Christ is the new element for us. And it is not sufficiently established that the message of Christianity as preached by Jesus Christ takes care of our pressing existential needs. So it might be socially convenient to profess Christianity, but at moments of crisis, it is it's much easier to rely on familiar practices, proven practices, than what is considered to be the foreign element that is Christianity. So you will find instances where there is that situation where many people would be, just be comfortable in both worlds.
When you refer to familiar practices, are you referring to the various or different gods that the indigenous religious person would pray to for a particular situation or for a particular event?
It will be both. It will be different gods that people will pray to, or ancestors, which is very strong in several parts of the continent, like where I come from. It would also be with regards to dealing with particular crisis in life. Say crisis of death, for example, or illness. Looking for explanation for this and not finding adequate explanations within, say, Christianity, and finding what I would call satisfactory answers within indigenous religious practices. One example that is very typical where I come from in Benin City is the question of illness and misfortune. How to explain certain illnesses or certain occurrences of misfortune. For us, and I speak for Benin City, there has to be an explanation. And it's not enough to say that, there is malaria parasite in one's blood and therefore you have malaria. There has to be something more than just that. Why me? Why my child and not the other child? And so that kind of explanation is very readily provided within resorting to certain practices within indigenous